Thank you everyone for being here. It's really, really awesome to see this turnout, from everyone at Jump, really thank you. It's a great momentum to get us going for the year. I'm supposed to talk to you guys about Jump Crypto. Unlike most audiences I'm speaking to recently, most of you guys know, what Jump Trading is, so I'll skip ahead straight to crypto. Um, so the crypto business, started as a skunkworks intern project over 6 years ago now at the University of Illinois, where a few of us were building the early connectivity to some of the early exchange venues, trying out some simple trading strategies. The business has come a long, long way since then. We're over 125 people full-time on the Jump Crypto team now, and we're doing a lot more than trading. But before I start talking about the trading and the Jump Crypto and the business in itself, I wanted to talk a little bit about why we're excited about crypto and Web3 as a whole. In the Bitcoin white paper, Satoshi laid out a game theoretic solution to the Byzantine generals problem that presented a solution for us to come to consensus amongst a global group of mutually distrusting parties. And what that gave us was this ledger that people across the globe could come to consensus on the state of. And that state, in the case of Bitcoin, represented the ownership of Bitcoin mapped to various public keys, to various owners, and transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain represented updates to this ledger on transfers of ownership or on mints of new Bitcoin. Ethereum came along as a smart contracting layer next, and the state became dramatically more expressive. Outside of just holding the balances and the ownership of the ETH token, it allowed the state to hold accounts, programs, applications that people could specify the interfaces to, and transactions that could then permissionlessly update these applications, again, in a completely global, mutually distrusting setting. And the applications that are building on top of this kind of trust in the air setting can then start seamlessly composing with state, with applications, and with everything else that exists on this Ethereum ledger. And that's really led to a completely new design space for applications in Web3. The first vertical of applications that really started to get a lot of traction was financial applications with DeFi. And they have a lot of interesting mechanism design problems and are also designed with a lot of computational constraints. And for people here in the traditional financial audience, if some of those problems sound familiar, they did to us as well. And it was a great first entrance for us into this space to lend some expertise and draw from our knowledge in the traditional markets to enter DeFi and crypto. You guys have heard from a lot of people from our team over the last week or so. You've heard about Pyth. You guys have about Wormhole as a connectivity layer. You heard about Extend from Ben. But I really wanted to highlight this underlying fabric that goes underneath all those projects and is one of the biggest initiatives we have at Jump, and that's building communities. Jump has traditionally been a very quiet firm. For over 2 decades, as one of the largest participants across a lot of traditional asset classes, been extremely quiet and kind of just gone about doing our business. And now you see us active on governance forums, on Twitter, on Discord and Telegram, engaging with developer communities, hosting events here with hundreds of people that we're trying to educate. And that's a recognition of the fact that the business that we're in, the products that we're building are fundamentally different and that they're fundamentally community-driven. There's 2 kinds of communities that I'd like to highlight. And one of them derives from the fact that one of the most powerful second-order effects that result from this trust in the air and this computational integrity that blockchains give us is composability. And a great example of this was Mango Markets last week launched a perpetual swap that was margined with Luna. Basically, with, with kind of minimal setup. So Mango Markets is a perpetual swap platform on Solana. They launched a product that was margined by the Luna asset that was bridged over from Terra using the wormhole. It's settled with prices using Pyth. It manages execution on and matching using primitives from the Serum order book, and it exports the trust of all this execution to Solana. And it builds a margining system that allows for all these components to be glued together. And 3 or 4 really motivated people stood up something as complicated as a leveraged swaps platform with a new product with about a couple weeks of work. All credit to the Mango guys. They're of course putting all the legwork in here, but that goes to really highlight the specialization of labor that's available with this new composable environment where you can export trust. Mango, with their glue pieces across all these ecosystem components, could create something incredibly powerful that hosts and settles itself without a lot of centralized infrastructure, without any web of intermediaries to establish trust. So, but once you have these products like Pyth, like Wormhole, like other exchange primitives in the space, much like in canonical Web 2 business models, the product is really half or even sometimes less than half the problem. And the rest of it is all distribution. And in this Web 3 world, where the potential composers and interactors with these platforms are a truly global audience, the only potential distribution you can have is your community. And you guys heard from Ed and Mark yesterday, who kind of created like this really vibrant Pyth community. And there's people coming in and saying GM every morning. There's this when token channel. There's people coming in and giving comments on the white paper. There's people building applications. There's people volunteering resources. And the only way that this primitive kind of gets adopted and actually gets usage throughout the crypto ecosystem is by having that kind of healthy, vibrant community. And communities need to not only be financially aligned, but they also need to be emotionally invested in the project. And you need people with this very explicit skill set of being able to foster excitement and engagement from a broad group of folks to be able to create that environment. And the creation of that, I think identifies the first community of application developers, of evangelists, and the network effects that whole economy drives. The second kind of community that I wanted to highlight was one on the Pyth data provider community that kind of sits here. This is kind of one of the most amazing examples of mutually distrusting people getting together and creating a platform that could exist out there. It's hard to imagine another setting where people at Jump are trying to educate people from Susquehanna, Jane Street, and HRT on our entire roadmap and teaching everyone else how to come in and make money here. So it's a truly magical space in that setting. And the confluence of those two communities, the canonical two-sided network effects business, are really run on steroids when they're amplified by these communities. And that's really been the innovation in a lot of crypto business models. Another illustrative example of these kinds of communities is the Oasis platform. It's one of our portfolio companies. They are, again, trying to bring healthcare data rather than financial data together across a number of healthcare silos where hospitals want to share genomic and a lot of phenotypical data across boundaries, but are unable to trust each other or are bound by a number of regulations that govern the access of that data by external parties. And by facilitating the sharing of this encrypted data and allowing computation over those large data sets, there's potential to create entirely new healthcare outcomes and also potential to create entirely new monetization streams for this data that's been sitting in these silos. And you really need to be able to drive that community to create the value in these ecosystems. The healthcare data is not valuable with one, it's valuable with 100 hospitals. Pyth data is not valuable with just Jump publishing. It's valuable with all the 50 communities that are signed up today. It's, the Serum order book is not relevant with one market maker. It's relevant with a giant community of people interacting with it every day. And the reason why I wanted to really highlight this in my talk here today was because this was kind of the hardest thing for us to really get to terms with and for us to really sit in and grasp. The technological jump, the quantitative jump, were natural, they were fun, they were exciting. Ben threw out the Matt Levine quote. This is kind of what people at our firms like to work on. But building communities is hard. The first time, giving away ownership is hard. Connecting to DeFi protocols and collaborating with all your competitors is hard. And we at Jump, today we're like in a position where we're really incentivized to grow this entire crypto community. Mike threw out a bunch of early numbers on the adoption curves today. It's very early by every metric possible. And we're highly incentivized to bring people like this in, to spread the word and create more people that then are equally incentivized to go keep spreading the word. And we wanted to highlight that we're here to try to make all the hoops that we jump through easier for everyone else here, and that we'd like to continue to be a resource. We're working on a large number of programs to get other participants into other protocols that we've been involved in and get people engaged. A lot of you here know Steve and Saeed, who've been running a lot of those efforts. So please do reach out to all of them and to the rest of us if you guys want to be more involved. And thank you all for coming here again. I'm pretty excited to be a part of this community with all of you. So thanks.